What's up, Reds Army? Grab your scarves and buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you will either have you dancing in the streets of Nottingham or throwing your remote at the telly. Listen, I've been following our beloved Forest through thick and thin, and let me tell you, what's happening right now at the City Ground is absolutely mental. We're talking about 3 massive stories that could completely reshape our squad before we step foot in European competition for the first time in nearly 3 decades. Picture this. Our Swedish sensation is being hunted by desperate Newcastle who won't take no for an answer. A Nigerian striker just put pen to paper in a move that screams pure loyalty and ambition, and there's an American winger saga that's got more twists than a soap opera. Each of these stories alone would have the Trent end buzzing, but together, this is the kind of chaos that legends are made of. Smash that like button. If you're ready for this roller coaster, drop your predictions in the comments below, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe because you do not want to miss what's coming next. But here's the thing, Reds faithful, one of these stories involves a player whose decision could either break Newcastle's heart or absolutely devastate ours. Are you ready to find out which winger has got Eddie Howe losing sleep at night? Right then, Reds, let's dive straight into the story that's got Newcastle fans checking their phones every 5 minutes. Anthony Elanga and why he's driving the Magpies absolutely mental. Here's what's happening. Newcastle have already had a massive 50 million bid rejected by our board. Can you believe that? 50 million, and our club said, thanks but no thanks. That's the kind of statement that tells you everything about where Forest are heading. But Eddie Howe isn't giving up. The Newcastle boss is absolutely obsessed with getting our Swedish wizard to St. James's Park, and sources are telling me they're prepared to go even higher, possibly matching our 65 million valuation, and I get why they're so desperate. Let me paint you a picture of what they're chasing. Elanga has been clocking speeds of 36.91 km. That's lightning fast. The lad can cover 85 meters in just 9 seconds. Compare that to Newcastle's Jacob Murphy at 36.5 km, and you can see why they're drooling over our boy. But here's the beautiful part. Our Elanga's shooting accuracy is at 64.9%, which absolutely destroys Murphy's 48.4%. We're not just talking about a marginal upgrade here, we're talking about a player who could transform their entire attacking output. The brutal truth for Newcastle, Elanga has 10 goals and 25 assists in 127 games since 2021, while Murphy has 17 goals and 25 assists in 143 games. But here's the kicker. Most of Elanga's magic happened at Forest, proving he thrives in our system under Nuno. Our board has been absolutely rock solid on this. Elanga is not for sale, period. They've made it crystal clear that even Champions League football isn't enough to tempt them into selling our crown jewel. The message from the City Ground is clear. We're not a selling club anymore, we're builders. What's even more beautiful is seeing Newcastle fans on social media absolutely losing their minds over this rejection. They genuinely thought their Champions League status would be enough to turn our heads, but they're learning the hard way that Forest have ambition now. But while Newcastle are crying into their Newcastle brown ale about missing out on Elanga, there's another story brewing that shows exactly why our recruitment team are absolute geniuses. Now this is where the summer gets proper emotional, Reds. While every transfer window brings uncertainty, sometimes you get a story that reminds you why football is beautiful, and Taiwo Awoniyi just delivered exactly that. Taiwo Awoniyi has just signed a brand new 3-year contract extension, keeping our Nigerian striker at the City Ground until 2028. And before anyone starts moaning about just a backup player, let me tell you why this is massive. This isn't just any contract renewal, this is pure loyalty in an age where players jump ship at the first sign of a bigger paycheck. Awoniyi could have easily looked elsewhere after a frustrating season where he managed just 2 goals in 32 appearances, mostly coming off the bench behind Chris Wood. But here's what the doubters don't understand. Awoniyi has been battling injuries and adapting to a new system. The lad still has 17 goals in 72 league appearances since joining from Union Berlin for that club record 17 million fee back in 2022. That's a striker who knows how to find the net when it matters. The timing of this renewal is absolutely genius. With Igor Jesus confirmed to arrive from Botafogo after the Club World Cup, another 17 million investment, we're not just building squad depth, we're building a striker department that can handle Premier League and European football simultaneously. Think about it. Chris Wood's Premier League experience and work rate, Awoniyi's physicality and pace, and Jesus' South American technical ability. That's a frontline rotation that will give any defense in Europe absolute nightmares. But this contract extension sends an even bigger message. Forest are no longer a stepping stone club. We're the destination. We're the team that players want to commit their prime years to. Awoniyi believes in this project, believes in Nuno, and believes we're going places. The Nigerian has been training like an absolute machine during the off-season, posting videos on social media that show he's hungrier than ever. This is a player who knows European football is coming and wants to be ready for those big nights under the lights. However, while we're celebrating loyalty and smart planning, there's one story that's been driving our transfer team absolutely mad with frustration. Alright Reds, time for the final story that's gonna make you want to throw something at the wall. This is about pride, respect, and why some players just don't understand what they're missing. Timothy Weah. Remember that name because it's been haunting our transfer team for weeks. The American winger from Juventus was supposed to be our marquee summer signing, part of a double deal that would have seen Samuel Mbangula join him at the City ground. Here's what makes this story so infuriating. The clubs have already agreed on everything. Juventus and Forest shook hands on a deal worth around 22 to 23 million for both players. That's right, we were getting two quality wingers from one of Europe's biggest clubs for less than half of what Newcastle offered for Elanga. Weah scored 6 goals and grabbed 5 assists last season for Juve, while 21-year-old Mbangula managed 4 goals and 4 assists in his breakthrough campaign. These aren't bench warmers, these are players who've been competing in the Champions League. But here's where it gets absolutely mental. Weah has apparently told Juventus he has no intention of making the move to Forest. The absolute cheek of it. Here we are, offering him Premier League football, European nights at the City ground, guaranteed game time under Nuno, and the American is turning his nose up at us. Even worse, the deal is supposedly being held up because neither player wants to discuss personal terms. They're at the Club World Cup in America, probably thinking they're too good for little old Nottingham Forest. And Mbangula is apparently willing to listen to offers, but now Bournemouth have entered the race and there's talk of Bundesliga clubs sniffing around. We're being used as leverage while they shop around for better deals. But here's the beautiful irony. While Weah is playing hard to get, La Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting that we've made an audacious move for AC Milan's Yunus Musa. That's right, the same American midfielder we tried to sign back in 2022 with a 25 million bid. So here's my question for the Reds army. Would you rather have a player who wants to be here, or someone who thinks they're doing us a favor by considering us? Drop your thoughts below because I know exactly which type of player belongs in our red shirt. And that's the beautiful thing about this summer. We're not begging anyone anymore. We've got Elanga staying put despite massive offers, Awoniyi committing his future to us, and if Weah doesn't want to be part of something special, his loss. The word around football circles is that Forest are becoming the club that everyone wants to monitor. Agents are calling us, not the other way around. We're attracting interest from South America, Europe and beyond because people see what Nuno is building here. That's the Forest mentality we need. That's the pride that'll take us back to European glory. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and let me know which of these 3 stories shows exactly why Forest are heading in the right direction. The Reds army doesn't beg, we build.